Disappointment. That's the word that best describes the mood of millions of Nigerians after yet another frustrating round of FIFA World Cup qualifiers. For a nation blessed with an abundance of football talent, Victor Osimhen, Ademola Lookman, Samuel Chukwueze, Alex Iwobi, and the young sensation Benjamin Frederick, it feels like a crime against football itself to still be struggling to book a ticket to the world's biggest football stage. But here we are again, staring at missed opportunities, dropped points, and lackluster performances. Nigeria, a giant of African football, is finding itself trailing behind nations it once dominated. The question on everyone's lips is simple: who should take the blame for this disaster? Today we break down the three names most connected to this crisis: Finidi George, Jose Peseiro, and Eric Chelle. This is not just analysis. This is disappointment turned into words, a reflection of the heartbreak Nigerian fans feel every time the Super Eagles take to the pitch and fail to deliver. 1. Finidi George, the local hope that faded too quickly. When Finidi George was appointed as interim and later substantive coach, hope filled the air. Here was a Nigerian legend, a man who wore the Super Eagles jersey with pride, a Champions League winner with Ajax, and someone who understood what it meant to play for Nigeria. The narrative was beautiful, a son of the soil returning to rescue the national team. Nigerians were tired of foreign coaches who never understood the Nigerian mentality. And Finidi was supposed to be different, but in truth his reign was short, shaky, and uninspiring. Tactical naivety. One of Finidi's biggest flaws was his tactical approach. Against South Africa, Rwanda, and even minnows like Lesotho, his game plan looked weak, predictable, and outdated. He relied too much on individual brilliance instead of building a cohesive system. It's as though he expected Osimhen or Lookman to conjure magic out of thin air. Poor man management. Football at the highest level is not just about tactics. It's also about managing egos and motivating players. Reports suggested that Finidi struggled to inspire the squad. Some players felt he didn't command the same respect as previous coaches. The disjointed performances on the pitch reflected a team that lacked unity and confidence. Short tenure, lasting damage. Even though Finidi's tenure was brief, it was costly. Dropped points in early qualifiers can destroy an entire campaign. And sadly, that's what happened. Nigeria lost ground early and never truly recovered. In hindsight, Finidi might have been a legend as a player, but as a coach, he was not ready for the responsibility of leading the Super Eagles through a crucial World Cup qualifying campaign. 2. Jose Peseiro, the architect of mediocrity. Before Finidi, there was Jose Peseiro, the Portuguese tactician whose time in charge was filled with inconsistency and frustration. On paper, he had the experience. On the touchline, he had the posture of a seasoned coach. But on the pitch, his Super Eagles looked like a team without direction. Defensive frailty. Under Peseiro, Nigeria's defense looked like a leaking basket. Simple long balls and set pieces confused our defenders. Games against smaller nations that Nigeria should have won comfortably turned into nerve-wracking struggles. Fans will never forget the shocking home draw against Lesotho or the embarrassing struggles against Zimbabwe. Identity crisis. Perhaps Peseiro's greatest failure was that he never gave Nigeria a footballing identity. The Super Eagles of the 1990s were known for their fearless attacking style. Even under Gernot Rohr, we at least had structure. But under Peseiro, the team lacked rhythm. Were we an attacking team? A defensive one? No one could tell. Matches felt like 11 individuals running around rather than a coordinated unit. Yes, under Peseiro, Nigeria reached the AFCON 2023 final. But that success masked deeper problems. The Eagles often scraped through games, relying heavily on individual quality rather than tactical superiority. That paper-thin success collapsed once qualifiers resumed. Peseiro left Nigeria in confusion, handing over a squad with fragile confidence, poor tactical structure, and a qualification mountain to climb. 3. Eric Chelle, the spoiler-in-chief. While Nigerians are quick to blame their own, we must not forget the role of Eric Chelle, the coach of Mali, who has now become a major stumbling block for Nigeria's qualification hopes. The new generation of African coaches. Chelle represents a new breed of African coaches who are tactically intelligent, fearless, and hungry to prove themselves against the so-called giants of African football. Against Nigeria, he set up his team brilliantly, compact in defense, explosive in counterattack, and ruthless when chances came, exploiting Nigeria's weakness. Chelle studied Nigeria's flaws and punished them. He knew our defense was shaky, so his team pressed high and forced errors. He knew our midfield lacked creativity, so he blocked the supply to Osimhen and Lookman. It was a tactical masterclass from a coach who simply outthought his opponent. A reality check for Nigeria. Eric Chelle is not to blame for Nigeria's problems. He is simply a reflection of the new reality. African football has evolved. Smaller nations are no longer pushovers. Coaches like Chelle are proving that discipline and tactical organization can defeat Nigeria's raw talent any day. The bigger picture, a systemic failure. While it is easy to point fingers at Finidi, Peseiro, or Chelle, the truth is Nigeria's struggles are deeper. The Super Eagles' problems are not just about the man on the touchline. They are about a football system in chaos. Poor planning by the NFF, changing coaches too often, failing to give long-term direction, over-reliance on individual talent, waiting for Osimhen or Lookman to save the day instead of building a collective team. No proper football philosophy. Nations like Morocco, Senegal, and even Mali have clear playing styles. Nigeria doesn't. Administrative failure. From unpaid bonuses to chaotic travel arrangements, the off-field drama always spills onto the pitch. This is why Nigerian fans feel nothing but disappointment. Not just disappointment at Finidi, or Peseiro, or even Chelle, but disappointment at the entire system that keeps failing the players and the fans. Who should take the blame? So, who is most responsible for Nigeria's poor World Cup qualifiers? Finidi George takes blame for failing to inspire and set up a working tactical system. Jose Peseiro takes blame for leaving behind a broken, confused squad with no identity. Eric Chelle doesn't take blame in the same sense. Instead, he represents the harsh reality that Nigeria is no longer feared in African football. But ultimately, the biggest blame lies with the Nigerian Football Federation, NFF, for failing to plan, failing to support coaches, and failing to build a footballing philosophy that can consistently deliver results. Nigeria deserves better. The fans deserve better. The players deserve better. Until we stop recycling failure and start building for the future, disappointment will remain the only story we tell in every World Cup qualifying campaign.